What's going on, draft fans? Welcome to Cover One, the NFL Draft Podcast, the video show here on YouTube, the Cover One YouTube page. If you're new to the site, you're new to the page, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to rate and review us as well, because we got tons of great content all the time here over at Cover One, from video stuff to the podcast to the video shows to everything. So be sure to subscribe. I think we're close to like 11,000 followers now. So it's booming right now. But with me, as always, here on a Saturday morning or Sunday morning, depending on what's going on in the world. But DP, Damian Parson, my man, how are we doing?
Doing great, man. Doing great. You know what I mean? Got some breakfast in me since we started a little bit sooner today. Grabbed, a little coffee there. Toasted white chocolate, which tastes delicious, by the way. But yeah, man, doing good. Got some great games on slate today, so I'm excited.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the three big ones that we have. I mean, like I say every week, there's probably about 25 games that we could talk about because, right. I mean, you got Mississippi State, Texas A&M that we're not going to get into, Baylor, Oklahoma State, the night games, right? Indiana, Penn State, Boston College, Clemson, Auburn, LSU, Arizona State, UCLA is going to be a good one. I mean, we could talk about your boy Zach Charbonnet. Tons of stuff that we could get into, but we are going to keep it simple today, a quick 30 minutes, and we are going to get into Georgia, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Alabama, Cincinnati, Notre Dame, and then we'll throw out maybe our one upset for the weekend and any one college player that we're talking about. So grab your coffee, hang tight with us, chill out, have some fun, and listen to us talk a little football. And let's just go with the first game on the slate, and that is Georgia, Arkansas. I'm excited about this one. It's going to be a defensive battle, no doubt about it. I mean, I think both teams have elite defenses, things that make them different compared to maybe any teams in the country, and specifically in the SEC. Arkansas, I've been saying it all summer long, they're legit. Georgia, a lot better than I had expected right now, to be completely honest. But what are you looking forward to in this matchup? I mean, obviously, like I said, it's going to be a defensive game. I know the one player I'm looking forward to on offense, but I'm sure you're going to allude to him. So the floor is yours, my man.
Man, like I'm looking at this defense for Georgia, and it's just the talent is just ridiculous, man. In my opinion, I think they have the best linebacking core in football right now, with Nolan Smith at the jack, Quay Walker, who I'm telling you, that's one of my guys in this draft that a lot of people aren't talking about. Senior middle linebacker playing the money backer spot. Then you have Nakobe Dean. And then, of course, when they bring him off the bench, Adam Anderson off of kind of plays a Sam, sometimes standing up, but he rushes the passer. But the thing I'm looking for really to the most in this game is Jordan Davis versus – that interior O-line. I'm talking Ricky Stromberg, Ty Clary, and Brady Latham. That's going to really determine this game. We've talked about it, a couple weeks ago when they played Texas. Arkansas ran the ball extremely well. They want to run the ball. They have Jefferson in the backfield, who is also a running quarterback. Jordan Davis he's going to make such an impact. He has to make such an impact to nullify the run game and force him into being one-dimensional.
I will say this. With Jordan Davis, the dude is so big. The image that is up on YouTube right now, the Week 5 live college football show image, it's got Desmond Ridder up there and Adam Anderson. I had to change it to Anderson. I could have had the image done like 10 minutes sooner this morning, but I put Jordan Davis up there, dude, and he started just taking up the entire screen. It looked like this right here, just like me blowing up on the screen. And I was like, dude, holy moly, like I can't do this. And it just didn't look good. So I changed it up a little bit, and I thought it came out pretty crisp using kind of the same format as last week. But no, I'm with you. I mean, I think me personally, no disrespect to the Georgia guys, but I would put my money on guys like Bumper Pool and Grant Morgan as kind of that linebacker duo for me. Maybe I'm biased because I spoke to Grant this summer, but I mean, they're beasts up there. They're beasts in that front seven. And then you have Jalen Catalon in the back. They're just kind of patrolling and floating around. And I say it every week. I think if Kyle Hamilton wasn't in this draft, or a draftable prospect, we'd be talking about Catalan as the top safety in the class, because the skill set, the range, the ball skills, it's all there. Yeah. And I think he can be the difference maker today, because whether it's Daniels or Bennett playing quarterback, I think he can potentially create some turnovers that maybe wouldn't be created in a normal Arkansas-Georgia football game, because Arkansas hasn't had this type of talent offensively or defensively in quite some time. I know you mentioned Treylon Burks. Treylon Smith is somebody that, for me, I'm falling in love with this kid more and more every single week. I mean, he's just kind of got like an it factor about him, or something that just like draws me in. The way he runs, he runs mean. He's quick. He's got that jitterbug to him, and he's a smooth operator. And I love that he can catch passes as well. So I think he can be a difference maker. But honestly, I don't know what the over-under is on this game, but I could see it being 20-10, 20-17, something like that. If you're into sports betting, which, by the way, your boy cashed a ticket last night on a three-leg parlay. Thanks a lot, Houston. Thanks a lot, BYU. And thanks a lot, Iowa. So, yeah, it's going to be a defensive game. We'll see what happens. You got anything else to add before we jump into the next game?
Yeah, so, for me, like you talked about, Catalan at the safety position, Lewis Seen, Sign is his last name, how I pronounce it. But, man, we talk about if Kyle Hamilton wasn't in this draft, he is a top 3 safety prospect in this draft. He is a quick trigger downhill. He will lay you out in the run game. He has no problem being a force defender. He comes down, plays in the box, but he also has the range playing single high. He's intelligent. He's athletic. He's aggressive. He's a lot of fun to watch. Jefferson, I would truly say, needs to be aware of where Lewis Sign is at all times, because they move him around a lot. He's kind of their chess piece defensively. Same thing with Adam Anderson. Know where he is, know where these guys are, because if you don't, that's when they make that big game-changing type of play, and that's what they don't need. Oh, shout out to some of the comments we had. Jant's Sports Tykeek Smith, also the West Virginia transfer at safety. He plays kind of the star position for them. He's another one that can make a lot of plays in that back end.
Yeah, we got one from Trey Ellis here. I think I was talking about Jordan Davis, and he said, like a bear.
Yes,
absolutely, dude. He's a big bear. So
I'm not a bear, connoisseur or anything. I don't know which one's more, I don't know if it's grizzly or whatever, but he definitely fits the bear mold.
Yeah. I'm excited, man. Georgia, Arkansas. I'm glad it's at noon. I'm glad it's the first game to kick off the day. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be going back and forth between that and Michigan, Wisconsin. I'm a little surprised that Michigan is the betting underdog right now. So that's interesting.
Yeah, Graham Hurts at quarterback. That's kind of weird.
Right. I mean, that dude sucks. And I'll just call it what it is, man. And I don't know. It's Barry Alvarez day out there as well. So we'll see what happmes. Maybe Wisconsin's got an upset brewing. Maybe we'll talk about that for a segment later. But Cincinnati, Notre Dame. I don't know. I am so intrigued with this game, because I just don't know what Notre Dame is. Every time I doubt what they can do or who they are as a team, they come out and they smoke a team. And Cincinnati, though, is well built all the way around. Desmond Ridder is obviously, the number one factor for them offensively, but defensively, they got some players, right? Myjai Sanders, who's my guy, Sauce Gardner, who might have the best name in football. I don't know. I'm torn on this. I want to say Cincinnati could potentially upset them, but at the same time, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know which way to turn on this game, and really, other than the fact that I just want to sit back and enjoy a good football game. I just feel like Notre Dame has a lot more weapons than I give them credit for.
Yeah, I mean, this is to me, this is the Desmond Ridder game, and why I say that is because who they played a couple weeks ago, and he struggled. They ended up winning the game. They were able to get some offense going and win the game late, if I'm not mistaken. But this is the game for him, where he comes out and he showcases his full array of talent. He can really silence a lot of doubters because Notre Dame has a solid defense and they're a really good team. You know what I mean? They have a good pass rush, good front seven, be able to and linebackers as well. Of course, again, Kyle Hamilton, right? So It's like he has to make sure he does not try Kyle Hamilton. And if you are, you got to be kind of cerebral about it, right?
Yeah.
You can't just go out there and say, I'm just going to challenge this guy. It's one thing. I'm not saying fear Kyle Hamilton. No. Okay, yeah. Fear Kyle Hamilton.
I was just saying, you could say
it. Yeah, fear Kyle Hamilton. Show him the respect that he deserves. But just be calculated in how you test him. Give him some eye candy. Try to get into his mind a little bit, mess with his reads, and then you take your shot, whatever the case may be. But, Notre Dame has to get Kyren Williams going on the ground. Yeah. Like, that's really going to unlock this whole entire offense. I know that the offensive line isn't as great as it has been in previous years. I think their left tackle's a sophomore, right? Left guard's a junior. You know what I mean? Like, it's just there's some youth there. Yeah. So they need to find some consistency. But this is going to be a really good game. It has the makings of a really good game. I talked about him last week. Cam Hart, junior corner prospect. Underclassman. We'll see if he does declare, but he has the tools and traits to be someone to keep an eye on.
For sure. And I mentioned it last week when we said Notre Dame, Wisconsin. We previewed that game a little bit. And I mentioned Notre Dame's got, a problem at left tackle. I mean, they lost 4 players on the offensive line last year to the draft. The only player that returned was, I believe, their center. And, at left tackle, they have a piece missing because they're constantly rotating that position. And Wisconsin was able to get some pressure. I mean, at one point, Wisconsin was winning that football game 13-10. And then the wheels fell off. They gave up kick return for a touchdown. They gave up I think, 2 pick sixes or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they fell off, Wisconsin did. But for Notre Dame, I mean, if Myjai Sanders is on that side of that left tackle, he might put in some work. And I mean, more than likely, he's probably going to be on that side. So I love his length. I think it could be a show-out game for him. But you're absolutely right. Desmond Ridder has to play well. He struggled against Indiana. That was the team week 1.
Yeah,
he completed like 54% of passes, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. So it was kind of a wake-up call for him. He's played well since, but, beat Miami, Ohio isn't saying much, but he's got an opportunity here. So I'm excited for it. I truly am. And I think, truthfully, we have the 3 best games on the slate that we're talking about. And the next one is Ole Miss, Alabama. How can you not be excited about this? I mean, we can talk about the Bama prospects, Ole Miss, all that good stuff. But the big question is Matt Corral, QB1, prove-it game. It's got to be, right? Like, if he beats them, it's all – and if he does it convincingly with in good fashion, the way that I think he can play, that I think we both think he can play, I think everybody's going to be flipping the switch and saying, this dude is QB1.
This is definitely the Matt Corral game. This is his opportunity. I tweeted that out earlier this week. He has 2 opportunities coming up, and this is the first one. Because next is going to be when Malik Willis comes to town, and you get that head-to-head matchup against Malik Willis. So that's going to be a fun one as well. But I absolutely think this is a game where if Matt Corral wants to solidify himself as QB1, this is where you do it. You come out here, and then you're going up against another Heisman candidate in Bryce Young, who is a talented, dual threat, explosive quarterback prospect himself when he comes out next year. But yeah, as Jant Sports says, alluded to, they have to target the linebackers. I love Henry 202 and Christian Harris, but again, you have to target them in the passing game, get these guys moving. Harris has some eye discipline issues, in my opinion. He kind of guesses and shoots gaps rather than just reading. And then when he does read, he'll do flat-footed reads where he's reading a little too slow, allows in the run game especially, allows the offensive line to climb to the second level. For me, watching this game, Corral, I don't know if they're going to be able to run the ball with Jerry and Ely. I think you use him more as a pass weapon in the passing game, kind of go ahead and spread them out a little bit. They got Bama's corners in secondary. It's a good secondary. Mm-hmm. So Matt Corral is going to have to play smart football. You know what I mean? Last year, I think he had 11? Did he have like 11 interceptions last year, something like that? And I think 7 or whatever, 13. And I think 11 of them actually came in 2 games. Like we don't need reckless Matt Corral in a big game. Because these are the type of games where, yes, you beat Louisville, you beat Tulane, you look great against these teams, right? But when you play Alabama, does that mentally, are you in a place where, okay, I got to play a game, but the game come to me, all the different cliches, or are you out there stressing, pressing, doing the most, as the kids say nowadays? So it's just like being precise and being intelligent with the football, play carefree, not careless, being careful with the football, and just let the game come to him. But this is definitely the game. Like I said, we'll see what happens when he faces Malik Willis in a couple weeks. But this is the game here where he can jump every QB prospect, because right now, besides him and Malik Willis and maybe 1 or 2 other more, like I think it's really just been those 2 truly been the more consistent quarterbacks. Everybody else, Sam Howell has bounced back, but this is the game where he puts himself over the top, in my opinion.
For sure. I mean, we'll see what happens. Their game or their offense is so fun to watch. They run all kind of different variations of these spread concepts. You love to see the RPO variations that they have. And Matt Corral does a tremendous job being able to decide what to do with the football in those situations. His decision-making is actually really good. There are times that he forces throws, he stares down his read. But ultimately, I'm curious if we'll see, a somewhat of what, LSU did with Joe Burrow at times. You saw it with Cincinnati the other day. I mean, they threw out 3 receivers on routes. You had the deep out, and then they had basically max protection up there with 7 guys. And the tight end releases, he check releases. You've got the running back right up there in the A gap, helping protect any bleed through. Alabama obviously can be aggressive defensively. I'm curious if Ole Miss will do some of those looks where they give that max protection and are still able to maybe run some of those RPO variations out of it with maybe a jet motion or something like that, because they love doing that jet stuff as well. So I don't know. I mean, I think Matt Corral is destined for QB1 with a good showing today. I truly want him to, because honestly, I'm getting to the point where I just want to put all my chips and just go all in on Matt Corral, because I've been a fan of him since last year and a fan all summer long. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe he'll struggle, maybe he won't, because they lost some pieces, right? They lose Elijah Moore. And I was afraid that offense was going to struggle, but they haven't taken a step back at all. They've taken actually, I think, a step forward. And he has taken a step forward. So he can definitely do it today in the prove it game. Honestly, I think this game's going to be like 50-55 or something. There's going to be 100 points up on the board. It's going to be wild. I'm excited for it. Jan Sports has been all over the chat today. Ole Miss's receivers are really big and physical, targeting Moore and Branch in the seam and RPOs to test the middle of the field. Yeah, no, I mean, that's what we're going to see. I truly think that. I think you'll see some of those max protection looks. You'll see a lot of crossers. And again, the jet motions, they love those pre-snap motions. So we'll see quite a bit of those. Getting to the next topic in official business is the upsets. We hit the nail on the head last week, brother. First time we did that last week, we were 2-0. You chose Clemson to lose to NC State. I had Baylor beating Iowa State. I joked around and I did it on my phone and I was like, I'm going to do it. I didn't end up doing it because I had to leave and go coach football. And when I got home, everything was already locked up. You couldn't even bet the Baylor game. But man, I wish I would have done it. I wish I would have pulled the trigger on it. But oh, well, we're 2-0 on it. We're going to try to carry it into another 2-0 weekend on the upsets. I already know what direction I'm going in here. I'm going with I'm jumping right in. I'm taking Boston College over Clemson again. I think Clemson is destined to be at least a 3-loss team. And when I look at their schedule, I mean, yes, they could certainly lose to maybe Pittsburgh or something because that's on the road. Maybe they lose to Wake Forest. Wake Forest seems pretty legit at 24th ranked in the country. But Boston College has a guy that we're both pretty excited about, the running back Garro. And I mean, obviously, I wish Jerkovich was playing at quarterback. But either way, Boston College looks pretty legit. And I think this is an upset brewing because it's at home. And I can't believe the spread on this is 15 points. I just think that's ridiculous.
Man, like it's like I said, we definitely hit the nail on the head last week. For me, I went back and forth on this one because it's a couple that I was looking at here. And we talked pre-show about Spencer Rattler, and while he's still my guy, I'm taking Kansas State. They're at home. I like their defense. They have my guy Deuce, double Deuce Vaughn over there. Kind of just that I'm not gonna call him muscle hamster because that was never a likable nickname, but he resembles. But I don't know, man. I really just have a feeling the way that Oklahoma has been playing, the defense isn't the most reliable. And offense, like I said, we talked about off air. The offense has been underwhelming for a multitude of reasons. The offensive line is kind of young. They're inconsistent. They have a ton of weapons, but Spencer Rattler and Lincoln Riley, deserve some blame too. Like they're not really clicking right now offensively.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking it, man. I'm taking it. I'm going Kansas State. And it's kind of the same reasons why I went against Clemson last week. I'm seeing too many negatives and not enough positives, in my opinion, especially when I pop on the All-22. And I truly believe this is the week where those negatives can bite Oklahoma in the rear. And now, don't get me wrong, Oklahoma could come out and play inspired football. Spencer could be clicking, hitting his reads, and they can blow Kansas State. I just don't see that happening. I'm going Kansas State here.
Man, that's risky business because you were talking about Eric Gray being a dude, and
yes,
not saying you're throwing him under the bus, but I don't know, dude. I've been so off on Kansas State this year. Like when the quarterback went down, I was like, oh, they're going to lose to Carson Strong in Nevada, and they come out and beat them pretty well. And then last week they lost to Oklahoma State, like got torched, and now they're playing Oklahoma, but they're at home. You're right. Oh, man. I don't know. I'll have to think about that one if I want to put that on the actual ticket. But Jant Sports has got some here in the chat. And Arizona State upsets UCLA. Oof. Kansas State upsets Oklahoma, so he's with you there. He's got BC over Clemson. And LSU upsets Auburn, which I like as well.
I do too.
On that one. So I don't know, boys. Maybe we'll try it again for $15 like I did last night, and we'll see what happens.
Hey.
Man, this show is going to turn me into a degenerate, like an absolute degenerate. But let's close up shop with this. What 2022 NFL draft prospect are you most excited for in week 5? I mean, there is I hate this question that I put it at the end of the show because there's so many freaking prospects.
Yes.
But, yeah.
It's all good.
You can go or I can go. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I have one on offense, one defense. Going back to the Alabama game, I'll go offensively. Dontario Drummond, 6'1", 220, big physical receiver, has the speed to take it the distance, has the run after catch ability, and with their quick hitting game when they want to go those slants, those deep crossers, the over routes, things of that nature, he is one of the guys to watch on that offense for Ole Miss. And I think he could have, if Matt Krause will have a big day that we should expect. I think he plays a huge part in that. And I'm going back to Cincinnati. We talked about Sauce Gardner, but I'm going to his running mate Kobe Bryant. And rest in peace to the actual Kobe Bryant, Bean Bryant over for the Lakers. Rest in peace to the Black Mamba. But this Kobe Bryant is very intriguing to me. He is a versatile corner. He plays similar to Sauce. He runs man. He runs zone. He does a great job kind of depicting it and dissecting routes, understanding the route combinations that are coming his way on his side of the field. And he baits quarterbacks into throws. He has the length and athleticism to go up against a multitude and a variety of receivers. I really like him. I know, like I said, Sauce is getting the majority of the attention on that secondary. And then you got Myjai Sanders on the front line. But Kobe Bryant for the Cincinnati Bearcats is a cornerback prospect to watch in this draft because I think somebody is going to draft him and be very happy with what they receive.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. If you're going to go 2, I'm going to go 2. And I'm going to stay in the same game. And it's a game that it might be the most underrated game of the day. 7 o'clock, ESPN2, Oklahoma State at home against Baylor. This is going to be a good game. I'm going to go with the receiver from Oklahoma State, Tay Martin. He's a senior, 6'3", 190. I was watching him last week, and I'm going to tell you what, man, like this guy, I don't want to say has like that's way too much, but he's experienced. I think he's just efficient and he's consistent. You look back at 2018, he had 70 receptions for 8 touchdowns. Last year was a shortened year, so I'm just going to throw it out the window. But the year before that, he had 45 receptions, and this year he's already got 15 for 200 yards and 2 scores. So I think that this could be a high-scoring game. It might be low-scoring because Baylor's always got a pretty good defense. But Tay Martin is good length, can be a threat in the red zone. He, again, it's not like he's oversized, like 6'3", 225, and he doesn't move well. Like, he moves pretty well with that length. And I think, again, last week he played really well. I think he can carry over to today. And then just going with Baylor, I'm going to go with their quarterback, man. Jerry Bohannon is he's fun, man. Junior, 6'3", 220, really good size. He's efficient with the football. He's completing almost 75% of his passes. He's got 7 touchdowns through the air. He's a lot of fun to watch. He can move around a little bit. So I think when you look at the quarterback matchups here, I mean, you got Spencer Sanders and you've got Bohannon. I think that's fun. Tay Martin on the outside for Oklahoma State. Hell, you can throw in R.J. Sneed as well. 2 senior receivers that are a lot of fun. I'm pumped about this matchup, but those 2 specifically have caught my eye over the last week or so, and I'm excited to keep watching them. So we'll see what happens there. But that's all I got as far as week 5. Do you have anything else to add before we close this up?
No, man. I think we've touched on a lot of different bases here, so I'm comfortable and content.
Oh yeah, it was a great show, as we always do it. I mean, week 4 was a blast last week. Week 5 is today. It's going to be tons of fun. We will get back to the audio podcast this week. I promise you. Some things kind of came up and life happens, but it is what it is. You guys can get the audio podcast that we do every single week or shooting to do every single week, especially when we get into full-on draft season. It will be a for sure weekly thing, probably multiple times a week on the audio side. But you can get it over at Apple Podcast, Spotify, Spreaker. You can find it on YouTube. Really, wherever you get your podcast, just search Cover One NFL Draft Podcast and you'll find us. So be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us there. And of course, you can go back and watch week 3, week 2, week 1 of the video show right here on YouTube. So be sure to check those out and find us on Twitter at Russ NFL Draft, at DP_NFL. And then just real quick, you got to check out our sponsors. Underdog Fantasy, look, they're the most innovative platform in the fantasy market. I'm telling you guys, it's a ton of fun. You can compete with us. You can find us on there. New users, they receive a free $10 with the $10 deposit. So if you put $10 in your account, you're going to end up with 20 if you use the promo code Cover1. So check it out. If you're struggling in fantasy, this is the way to do it. You can win money in pools. You can get, fantasy notifications and alerts and advice and everything that you're looking for fantasy football. So check it out with Underdog Fantasy over at underdogfantasy.com. So for DP, this has been a lot of fun. Week 5, going to be a blast.
Yes,
our show's in the books. We will talk to you guys next week, Saturday or Sunday on the video show, and we'll do an audio show later in the week. So until next time, this is Cover One, the NFL Draft Podcast.